Alrighty folks, I'm out here this afternoon with these colts. I'm going to be I'm going to be working with this roan colt. I'm going to spray them down with fly spray and tie up the black colt. I think it's a really good idea to work colts around each other, get them quiet. I'm going to be doing some offside rein work with the roan horse. I'll do some of the introduction. The wind is blowing, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do some voiceover after this introduction in the video. So right now, I'm going to go grab my spray rig. I'm going to catch these guys, spray them down, tie up that black horse, and I'll be right back.
Alrighty folks, back here again with another training video. This is footage that I had shot way back in the summer. Was trying to put together just a whole series of videos with this horse, Roni. The owners call him Rusty, and I didn't get around to it. I've got several of these videos that I'll be bringing you with him, just working with him and getting him used to being a working horse. He was a reservation horse. Came off reservation. Good looking little colt, coming 2 years old. So we're starting with him and trying to get him going here. And what I'm working on with him here is just offside reining, just getting him to turn around. And he's still kind of reactive, and he doesn't really trust me a whole lot at this point. And what I'm working on here is getting him to the point where I can drive him, be behind him a little bit more, and teach him to stop and just teach him some reining. So we're going to be long lining him, and anytime I run onto any kind of problem, like him being head shy about this going over his head, a lot of it has to do with my vicinity of being next to him. I don't know what his background other was that he was running wild. Some of the things that the previous owner, he's a guy, he works with these horses, trades with them, catches them, and he sells them to the public. So I don't know what all he did with him. He did say he did work with him a little bit. So, but that being said, I never really care what somebody else has done with them. I just go in and work with them and try to find the things that where they may not be as trusting, or they may have some not their spots, or things that they're worried about. So this is the first time I'm driving this horse with long lines, and once you get forward motion on cue out of the way, and you've been working them on one line, and you've been doing some offside reining where you're throwing that rope up over them and turning them around, then driving is just a natural progression. It's just an additional step to that. You're just being a little bit more consistent with it. And he really likes this other horse here. I think it's important not to take all those elements out. He wants to go to that other horse. That's where he feels comfort and safety. And I have to kind of step up my pressure and get him out of those spots. And that's a good thing. That teaches him that he can't retreat over there, and it teaches him that I'm leader. You've got to just keep working there and keep going. And one of the things I really like about driving is it gets them over a lot of things, just touching them on their sides, touching them on their legs, and they don't get as worried about it. Here you can see again, he really don't want to leave that little black horse that I call Stetson. He wants to get over there and be buddy with him and feel some comfort. So I'm just kind of driving him around, getting him to move his feet. What I really look for is fluidity, and I'm looking for that horse to just move out and not be so sticky in places, and just kind of be a little bit more fluid in their movements and in their responses to what I'm asking. So there I did a stop, and in the beginning, just like you would in the saddle, your body language has to take and portray what you're wanting. So I'm very expressive in my body language, and maybe speaking pretty loud, but when it's needed, I think it's great. You'll notice I just stop and let him run into the reins and let him figure it out. Here I'm backing him up and just getting him to respond to the pressure, just testing him out. Again, this is the first time I've ever driven him. I took what most people call lunging, I call forward motion. I've done that, and I've done offside reining, where I throw the rope up over him, as you've seen in the beginning, and he's doing really well. He's responding well. Really sensitive horse, and because he is sensitive, you could that's one of the things. People want a sensitive horse and they want a catty horse, but at the same time, those horses are a lot of times really overreactive in places. So it goes along with them. There again, I stop him, just letting him run into those reins. There he gets his head up, and all these things are normal things for a horse that's never been driven before. Sometimes the first time you drive a horse, it's not that pretty. You just have to take and work through it. Just trying to get him to settle here, back up and settle, and quit thinking about going forward just because I'm behind him. You can see me move my body. He can see me. He can take and see me. He can see what I'm doing. So I'm really expressive with my body about backing up, not really pulling hard on him. I'm just reinforcing everything I do with my body. If he wants to get sticky, I'll take and escalate my pressure and get him to really move his feet. And as I work with a horse, I start adding some expectation. No, I don't want you going over to that other horse. You should just go ahead and move on forward. And it all depends on the horse. Again, he's really sensitive, so he shouldn't have a problem with responding to my cues. So what you're seeing is him, when he wants to go to that other horse and he gets sticky footed, he's just not wanting to do what I'm asking him. He thinks he knows better in that moment. So I have an expectation of him being a little bit more fluid and moving on out. If he were a really laid back horse, I wouldn't be as expected of him to take and really move out. But he's a sensitive horse. He's kind of a reactionary horse, so he should be moving a little bit more freer than that when he goes and stops. A lot of times, just flipping that rope really gets him over a rider being on them when it takes and comes up around their hip. And that's why I don't use a surcingle, particularly in the first little bit. I want those ropes to slip up over them, slip up over their hindquarters. I want things to maybe get out of control a little bit and just work them through them, and they become a whole lot more solid horse. Here I am. I'm throwing that rope back up over, and most of the time you're not going to have any trouble with them once you get them stopped, particularly if you've worked and got them quiet. But the time you'll have that issue is when their feet's moving and they're excitable. So he does pretty good. For the first time, I think he did excellent. I always try to end my sessions with getting them to drop their head and getting them just to relax and release some of those good endorphins in their brain. And he's coming around, but he's still got a few trust issues. He's not totally trusting, so here I am. I'm just picking up his feet, and I kind of got off center of camera, but it's where he wanted to settle at, so I just left it alone. I gave him to drop his head, get him to relax, work on getting his feet picked up. I like to do that at the beginning of a session a lot of times, and do it at the end of a session. Just get them to drop their head, get them quiet, and end the session on a good note where he's feeling good about himself, and we got something accomplished. Here again, I'm working on putting that up over his head. He's a whole lot better about it now. Some people, you see, he got kind of silly about that. Putting that up over his head. I was on the other side. So those things, when I run into them, I just work on them. Nothing else matters at that point except for kind of getting him over that and not letting that excitable moment be the last thing he thinks. I want him to really take and be quiet when I end. I always tell my students, you can start out of control. You can have out of control all the way through it, but at the end, the last thing that horse needs to be thinking about when he leaves you is that it ended quiet. So they can be, wild and running around in the beginning, and they can get out of control in the middle, but they gotta end quiet. So I'm really proud of this little horse. I've got other videos to bring you, and we'll see you later.
Alrighty, folks. I'm going to take and end this video up right here. Remember to like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about us, and tune in next time to see what we take and get into next. Remember, if you don't know which way to go in this old world, commit your ways unto the Lord. Trust also in Him, and He'll bring it to pass. We'll see you later.